Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Carol, roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets,
Present.
Greg Miller,
Present.
Megan Sheets,
Present. Okay, first on the agenda, we have two sets of minutes. We have them from April 25th, 2022 and May 9th, 2022.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from April 25th and May 9th.
And I'll second that motion. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Greg Miller,
Aye.
Megan Sheets,
Aye for, or excuse me, abstain for the 25th and aye for May 9th. If I can do that. Okay, was that just the 25th, right? Or did you say the 9th? I'll say. Okay, because you weren't here. Were you here for the 9th? Okay,
no, he wasn't here, that's why we had to hold the minutes till
yeah,
today. So
okay.
Can you change that motion to be just the 25th?
Yep, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes for the April 25th.
And I'll second that.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller,
Aye.
Megan Sheets,
Abstain. And then next we have the May 9th.
Yes, I'll make the motion, we approve the minutes for May 9th, be our Board of Works meeting.
And I'll second that motion.
roll call, Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller,
And I'll abstain.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. Okay, we got the minutes taken care of. Claims for this week.
Yes, they're sitting right beside me, and I'll make the motion, we approve the claims as presented this evening.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller,
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay, next we have public comments. Peggy Robinson, 1001 Gibbon Street.
Mhm.
Would you like to come up to the microphone? Don, can you? Yeah.
Mayor, can I come up real quick with her?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Peggy's contacted me along with a couple other individuals down on Gibbon Street about redoing that road at some point in time, getting paved. It's one of the brick road that is left there between Kyler and Green. And I thought it might be a good idea. I think they put together and had some people sign a document that they may want to provide you guys today, but I told her, she would like to come in and she's more than welcome to. This is kind of how things work for this situation. So she has a few things to say. So
Okay,
you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
thank you.
I've lived down there for 7 years now. We rent from my son. It just gets worse. It's almost like a roller coaster at times. You can't get up any speed, but you shouldn't get up any speed anyway. And then there's 2 or 3 places where the water mains, I guess, have broke. And they've had to dig it up, and then they just patch it over with cement. So I don't know if it can be fixed with brick or taken on. I don't know. And since it's such a short street, it's only like not even 2 or 3 blocks, I think, even if that long. So, but we'd just like to see something done, if it can be. So that's it. Do I give you the petitions that
Yes, if you have it with you today.
I got one? Another lady on the other side of the street was going to do her side, and she's
Okay.
under the weather, so.
Okay, if you want to leave that with us, that'd be great. Jason, can you talk to us a little bit about that street, or what would have to be done, or what shape it's in?
Well, obviously, it's been like that for years, Mayor, and I know that there's been concerns in the past with repairing that or putting asphalt down in there. As far as redoing the street, I can't give you an idea of what the situation would be. I know on a concrete road, we just scar fire over the top of it and pave it. with a brick road, probably to get that, because those bricks are all cattywampus in there, like she was saying. And, you know, it does cause an issue for our snow plows in the wintertime. You can damage a plow down there pretty easily, to where, and that's usually my neck of the woods. That's where I plow out and plow at. And so you got to just be careful, go slow when you're plowing down there. But I would say that the brick would have to be removed, probably, is what would need to be done. And I've never had one of those, quoted in the past to see what it costs to do that. But obviously, normally when we do like an alleyway that has a brick right across from headquarters, we did it. We had to go in there and physically take them out with a backhoe, and that's kind of what they've been doing here on 28 on the list here recently too. So that would probably be what I would suggest be done, because if you pave over the top of it, it probably won't last long. And that's the reason we go through what we're going through with 28, because those bricks shift in there underneath that asphalt. If you're only talking about putting 2 inches of asphalt over the top of existing brick, you're going to lose your curb more, and then also, I'm not sure how good of a base that would be for us to do. So I would probably say we would have to have it taken out, and maybe these paving companies have a way of doing that we don't. But I know recently down here, like in front of Del Rio and stuff, when they've been taking that out, they've been taking it out with a backhoe. They'll mill down so far and then take the rest of it out with the backhoe. So
I do know in the past, there was some concern because of the history of it, and some people wanted to keep that. So Les, I'm gonna look at you for a minute and ask, what would we have to do? I mean, should we do like a public meeting? Do we have to do that? It's, of course, it's probably the only brick street or one of the
that's the
only.
only one I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I don't know of any state statute or ordinance that would require us to do that. I think if the Board of Works wants to repave it, it can.
And then as far as the cost of it, after we finished our CCMG from the last year, there was a little bit of city money left, right? That's if we use Reith Riley because it's
We was to do it right away. There's about around $80,000, maybe more than that, available for us to do something else in town.
that we'd have to use Reith Riley, right? That was encumbered money.
Well, I don't know how that works. I would assume.
Yes.
It was encumbered to Reith Riley's.
Okay. That's
So,
right. Yeah, we would have to go to them and, get a quote from them, which would be a quicker process, obviously, when I have to advertise
I
and
don't
things
know if
like
that's
that.
possible.
I'm not sure that was.
Okay, you'll have to check on that and see. Because the bids came in lower on that CCMG grant and the city money. Now we'll have to send the grant money back to the state, but we would have our portion. So,
Yeah, the cost of the asphalt was a little cheaper than what we anticipated. Obviously, it's probably changing now because of gas prices, but there is still city money left from that. But can't keep the state's money, they won't go back.
Did anybody have any other questions for either one of them? What do you think? Just take this under consideration for right now and have Les check on that as well and see what we can do. And then if you can get that other petition, that would be really good. They can stop by Old Stony or they can mail it into the mayor's office.
Okay.
Okay? Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for coming.
I know there probably would be nothing done this year, which, but if it has to go to next year, that's fine. I've lived with it for 7 years.
Okay. Well, we'll give it consideration, see what we can do.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Okay, building services, Don Stock.
Mayor, KTM is there present this evening. They're in the back. If you'll come up. They own a food service trailer, and they've been selling food. We've asked them not to sell food out of the trailer. By ordinance, the Board of Works has to give permission for them to be able to sell products out of the back of their trailer. Also, we've made contact with Jessica at the Board of Health. They have protocols that have to be in place also. They have to make sure that the food is stored in a proper manner, and so that, you know, it doesn't make anybody sick. But I'm going to allow them to tell you about their trying to make contact with Jessica.
Okay.
I'll be okay. If you'll tell me about trying to make contact with Jessica.
Hi,
Hi.
Isabel, KPM Custom food truck. There was tried for contact to Jessica, but I don't find the calling. I sent a message, but she didn't respond me for help. So the KPM Custom food truck they contain was Puerto Rican food for the community. There's a different tasty, different food for all people, Hispanic, American people. And the petition is for open that in the community.
But you have not been able to make any contact with the Board of Health, with anyone?
I have some permits right now. I have the NBI. I have a lot of documents for the KDN customer. I don't find any call with Jessica for help.
Is she the only one you can contact there? or-
That's who, we made contact with Jessica last week, and she gave me her phone number and extension to make direct contact with her. We'll follow up on that probably tomorrow and see if we can't get the two together. By ordinance, you're allowed to give permission for them to sell, but they can't sell products on the crosstown overlay, which is basically the highway, Jackson Street, from city limits to city limits, and 28 from city limits to the jog. And then the 28 East overlay takes place, and they're not allowed to be in that either. But the Board of Works can give them permission to sell like off those streets from, not those streets, but any other streets that they have. Now, if they want to sell on private property, then they'll have to get that permission from the people who own the property. But to be able to sell on the streets, you could grant, the Board of Works can grant that for them.
So that's at your residence, is that correct?
Yeah.
What hours were you thinking?
That's only Sundays. 1 to 7 p.m.
Just one day?
Yeah,
Sundays?
Sundays.
Les, what are your thoughts on this?
Is there a county ordinance that addresses the food trucks, you know, Don?
I can't answer that.
I mean, other than the overlay restrictions,
I don't know. I just know.
does the state statute require a permit from the Board of Health? Is that?
Well, the Board of Health requires them to get a permit from them. And when talking with Jessica, I mean, she gave us her extension number to make contact with her. And
Well, I guess the Board of Works could approve the request in areas in the city where it's allowed to have a food truck and make it contingent upon they're receiving a permit from the County Board of Health is what I would suggest, I think.
that's what I would suggest, that it be based on the Board of Health passing whatever it is that they have to pass to be able to sell food.
I did have one concern from a citizen that had gotten a hold of me about the congestion in that area. I don't know if that's anything to, think about, or it doesn't seem really busy down in that area, but I don't know if you would open it, how congested that would get.
And did you
How
say,
many people get in line for food?
Did I understand you said on Sundays you'd be selling, and this is at your home that you'd be selling? Okay, and so just that one location?
Megan, they live on the corner of East Ohio and Oak Avenue.
Okay,
That's where their residence is.
okay.
And the food truck's actually on Ohio, correct? I went by there yesterday. And then you have like the awnings on either side of that. Yeah.
Something within me says it's important to comply with Board of Health as well, regardless of the location. And I'm sorry that you're experiencing the delay in Jessica responding to you. And I'm not wanting to not advance your business at all, because I'd be excited for that to pop up. But something tells me there needs to be a standard of compliance, and the Board of Health would, for me personally, be an integral part of that.
That's great.
Yeah, I think it would be contingent, maybe more for us, that the Board of Health said that would be, that'd be permitted to do that. So I'd like to see her more involved. I'm surprised that they're not. But, I mean, if that's something, Doug, you want to follow up with, since you're involved in this, if she has a place of business, if she's working from there, I don't know if she's working from home or if she's working from the office, but probably could you get contact with her through Rodney?
Well, I'm gonna make contact through the number that she gave me and then an extension, and if it doesn't, then if push comes to shove, we'll just go out to the department and try to make contact.
It sounds like that sounds like a surefire bet there. If you go to the front door and
Yeah.
knock, if she's working from site. I'm not sure if still from COVID if they're working from home or not, but Rodney, I'm sure could help make contact with her since he's involved in that.
You know, I want to inform that they have all their license there, LLC, I think it is, and they have all their permits from the state of Indiana. I've seen all that, but the biggest one that I'd like to see is the permit from the Board of Health. And we've asked them not to sell food until they get that. Now, we were told that you sold food on Sunday. You gotta quit selling food until we get your permit from the Board of Health. And then we'll come back to the board to seek permission for the sale. Would that be the right thing to go?
Would you feel comfortable with that?
Okay.
I'm actually along those lines wondering, is the Board of Health approval, would that turnaround time be tight enough that they could conceivably get that approval before our next meeting?
It's a possibility. I mean, I'm not for sure. I think that what they have to check on is how the food is stored and where it's stored at and that type of items. I don't know exactly all this detail, but I know that that's the biggest part of it.
I think we have 3 weeks in between, because we have
We do, because we have
a fifth Monday, so it'd be 3 weeks before we meet again.
If they have all the other permits, I wondered if we could pass contingent upon receipt of the Board of Health approval, and that would put.
That was what I suggested, I think. That's what Megan indicated.
And I can bring that to your office, Mayor, to verify that that's okay.
What do you think about that? Would the board be in favor of doing that?
Let me state a motion that we could place a contingent approval for KTM Customs Food Truck to be operational pending the full approval of the Board of Health permit, and granting that and receipt of that at the mayor's office for review. Then they could open for business, if you will.
I'll make a second.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call please.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Greg Miller,
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. Now, are you planning to take that food truck anywhere else, or are you just having it at your residence? Have you thought about that?
Right now is around my residence. Yeah, if I have another location, good for the country, we're moving.
I know Kimberly back there is always looking for food trucks, so for events in the city. It seems like everyone, that's the big thing right now, so that's why I wondered. Okay, well, once Dawn and you get that situated with the Board of Health, then you can get it into us and we should be okay to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Okay, Dawn, do you have anything else?
That's all that I have right now. I mean, there's a lot of complaints that we've been taking care of, as you well know. We have a big BZA meeting coming up this coming Wednesday on a possible soccer field being placed in out by Walsh Avenue, and that'll be the next thing after I get through this evening. I'll be getting prepared for. So it's a lot of controversy with that that's coming with it, and we'll see what we can do.
Dawn and I have been working hard on this.
Yeah,
Maybe Dawn more than me, but
We always, every day we find something new,
okay, thank you. Okay, Parks Department.
Hello. So we did get, the day after the last Board of Works meeting, we had two bids we had one that was a watering bid and one that was our concession stand bid. And so I don't have the actual contract signed yet. We've sent them, but we do have the dates, and it's basically from now until September 30th for our watering bid. Obviously, the watering bid was a little bit more than what we wanted to spend, but we do have it in the budget to do so. So last year we spent 11,500. This year would be 17,000, with a potential to save a little bit more. And like I said, we do have that in the line item to pay for the contract. It's just more expensive. So that's essentially that for the watering contract. It's through Greenscape Landscaping, and Green Smart Landscape. They are from Frankfurt, from right outside. One of them lives in Frankfurt, the other one lives in Colfax, and I think they'll do a fine job. They've already, we've got the hanging baskets up and they're ready to go as long as we can ratify it. And then Big Country Barbecue, they had a very successful past fall and winter season in the concession stand, and he was a bid this year. And so they want to use half of the concession building to do restaurant style, where you come in and sit down and eat. And then the other half will be concession stand with ice cream, nachos, candy, and soft drinks. Both of them would be till September 30th. So basically now until September 30th.
Less in the past, I know what they have to have, like liability insurance. Is there anything else that we?
So they have to have workers' comp insurance,
Okay.
liability insurance, and that's all specified in the contract. I think we had a concession agreement we prepared.
We do have a concession, but we don't have
Yeah.
one.
So
In the past, the provider, which for the last few years has been Phillips Greenhouse, they have provided us with a proposal that the city signed off on, the mayor would sign. So I had asked Bart to get that company to give us their proposal that we could sign off on, unless Mr. Bergam has a different plan.
no, that's fine.
And I can get you guys the actual proposal as soon as possible. I do have the email version with all the info in it, but it wasn't the official one with his logo. The other one he said would include his insurance information and license number and things like that.
Proposal. Well, maybe this is it. Okay, I just said it's on the back, and yeah. But we did not have the one for the watering.
Right.
Well, the concession agreement we prepared is for Hazel Davis and Clarence Davis, DBA Big Country Barbecue and Catering. The only thing that was left blank were the hours, because we didn't have those, but we have the dates in there.
The hours are going to be 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Mhm.
Okay, the one I have here says 11, so.
I think that was a couple contractors ago.
Okay, so it's gonna be 10,
He wants 10 to 7.
okay.
Here's the.
Okay, yeah, that's not right. 28 through September.
Focusing first on the watering contract with Green Smart Landscape. Since we don't yet have the document, we really can't approve it. I think I should land on the specific language and not approve something that's just basically verbal at
Sure.
this point. So, but I know from the conversation, we were very pleased with the idea of it. So, it might be something we will just need to further ratify, or if we have it.
We've had a contract for that each year, I think.
It's always, yeah, it's like, she said, it's like a proposal, and then you guys have signed the proposal. But I can try to have that on Wednesday.
Has he already started?
I believe so. I believe he started on Friday.
Because we have to put the plans up so we can keep those.
Hopefully we can approve the session in a couple of days.
If we see it's okay, but then ratify it.
I thought we had a contract each year.
We did.
We do,
But we didn't have,
but I don't have one prepared.
right, all we had was the advertisement. Nobody gave any quotes. And then this has come up since then. This guy had approached you and
In years past, the vendor themselves put together their proposal.
Right. And then we just would bring it to the board.
Okay.
We haven't had a
haven't had a
boilerplate
boilerplate,
watering
okay.
contract like we have the concession. The watering is a newer venture for the city, whereas the concession, I think, has many years behind it.
They use their own truck, don't they?
They're not using any city equipment.
When that thing started, they used the city truck. I remember.
The only thing they are carrying around is a water meter from the city, and that's just, so that goes back to the actual city to see how much we're actually spending on our water.
they furnish the vehicle. We pay the water, is that correct? And they furnish the chemicals and they furnish all the fuel and everything, which is why we think it's significantly up this year.
Yeah.
Well,
It was twice
I
as
agree
much.
with Megan. It'd be nice to see the writing. I'd be happy to prepare a written agreement for it. I can do that based on the proposal they
Okay.
submit, yeah.
I'll send that to you then.
And what do you think about Wednesday, the planning session? Could we? I know we can't vote on it.
Well, I think you
It's
could
not-
go ahead and sign it, and then we'll have the board of works ratify it at the next board of works meeting.
I'll make sure I have it on Wednesday then.
Okay. Okay, then next on to the concessions and the big barbecue, big country barbecue. So explain that to us just a little bit. They're going to use the one side for concessions and we have we have what, like a refrigerator?
There's a few refrigerators. He's brought in a freezer. We have, of course, the oven, grills and things like that in there as well. So he mostly uses a lot of his smoker stuff that sits outside the building. And so that smoker will be back. That half of the building will be open for people to come in and sit down, even if they're having candy and ice cream. But you will be able to get full meals on that side. And then he's already given us, which I can send it, I'll bring it on Wednesday. He's given us a menu of everything that he's going to serve and things as well. The other half, of course, will be just concession stuff, ice cream, candy, and things like that.
They do have that concession information that you had.
Oh, okay.
I passed that along.
Seeing the volume of restaurant fare that they have in this, I thought it was going to be, just an option of for his barbecue, fewer items, if you will. And, but it looks like it's quite extensive on the restaurant side, and so I think some considerations. I guess I'd like to just have a sit down with him just to just solidify some information and so forth before we proceed.
He did mention that although those are all the items, they won't be all of the time. So I don't think any day will have every single thing. I think it's more, this day will have a few items, Wednesday will have a few items like that. He did mention that it wouldn't all be at once, that's just everything that will be available. But he would be more than welcome, more than happy to sit down.
I think that's an element missing before we sign off on it. We just have some further discussion. If that'd be okay if we could table it for, and not for a lengthy time, because I know we want to have concessions available and move forward. But I think it bears having a little discussion with the vendor first before we.
Because we do the same thing as we did with the watering. Have him come in on a Wednesday during our planning session, talk to him. If we make that decision, and just ratify it next meeting, whatever we decide. How do you guys feel about that? Have him come in and let's have a conversation with him to make sure that we understand exactly what his thoughts are.
I'm sure he can come this Wednesday if you'd like him to.
When is the planning session?
Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
Okay. Is there an open door notice on that?
Yeah, that's every.
So we don't have to
second
issue an open
Wednesday.
door
Yeah,
notice?
it's always every second. It's advertised at the first meeting.
And actually make the decision then,
Right.
that you can talk.
And then we could say whether or not we're gonna ratify that and before, same with the watering. Visit us.
Sounds good.
Just 4 more days. Yeah.
That's all I have.
Mayor, do you want him to come towards the end of our?
That's what I'm wondering, because usually the department head, well, you know, the department heads talk, maybe 11. Have them be there around 11. That give us time to meet with the department heads first. And-
Sounds good.
Okay,
That's all that.
okay, thank you. Okay, community development, Kimberly.
Okay. I'm gonna go out of order on my list, but the social butterfly, that was supposed to be the contract for, the Hispanic Festival, I would like to table that, for a little bit. And talk about it on Wednesday potentially. During the planning session. Just with some new, things that we're doing with the Hispanic Festival, I just wanna make sure that we have all our ducks in a row before we sign something.
Okay,
And then the other thing is the hot dog festival. Kim Stevens is here to kind of talk about the detour contracts with hot dog festival and everything else. So Kim, do you want to go there?
Those, okay.
uh-huh.
Good evening.
And
Thank you for letting me be here and talk tonight. Just want to make sure that we are all on the same page with the detour and that we're okay to set up. In your packet, there is a map of what we did what we did last year, and that is our intention is to be able to go ahead and set up like we did last year, the exact same way. So that would mean that we would shut down Washington Street on Friday morning early, and it would be closed until Saturday evening. It would be able to be open back up, I would say between midnight and 2 o'clock.
now Jason and Scott, have they been working with you or have you guys discussed what you've come up with? Okay.
I think we just want to make sure we have everything that we're supposed to have and no surprises.
Scott or Jason, do you have anything to say about that detour or?
We'll work it out
Okay.
somehow.
Somehow we'll do it.
God bless you.
Okay.
What he said.
Oh, my goodness.
Like you said.
Okay, so the first thing in your packet, I gave you the special event application, so that is completed. It basically, like I said, we're planning to set up exactly the way that we had it set up last year, with the same road closures and everything. So the map is also attached, so you can see what roads are going to be used and where things are going to be placed.
And we will not start shutting down the roads until Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. Well, it'll probably be about 6:30, but we want to give them plenty of time to have the cars out of the way so that we can start our vendors coming in at 7 o'clock. Any questions on the application? Okay. Okay, and then I have some contracts that I've added. We kind of were waiting for the road closure confirmation first, before we sign the contract. So I have all of the folks that I have here with you. I think you've got a couple of them, but we'll start with the first one, which should be, on Friday evening, Dusty Miller. And he is, a Garth Brooks tribute. And then the second one on Friday evening would be Drew Baldridge. He would be our headliner. And then that would be it on Friday evening on the big stage. Now we have some other things that we're planning for Friday during the day, just waiting on confirmation for those. And then Saturday we have Silly Safaris, which is a live animal show, and then they will do a meet and greet afterwards. That would be in Prairie Creek Park, and we're looking at possibly doing that in the small stage area over outside of the event center in that gravel area. And then we have the Wonder Wheels BMX bike show. We are looking at that. I don't know that there's enough room for them to do it right in Prairie Creek Park, so it may be right in front of the park there on Washington Street, but that's what we're looking at. We've had them a couple times before, and they've really done a good job and have drawn a good crowd. And then later in the afternoon, we have a band, the Linda Smith Band. And then we have Patrick Day. Pat is with, he has an a cappella group that they will be singing on Saturday evening between Mellon Cooper and Crush. And they will be doing it, it's an a cappella group, so they won't need any kind of setup. It'll just be kind of a click on and click off there. And then we would have the Mellon Cooper and then the Mellon Camp. I'm not Mellon Camp, sorry, the Bon Jovi. Any questions? Any questions?
Okay, just nothing tells us what the weather's gonna be.
Tell me about it.
Did you plan that?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank you.
are we ready to approve this agreement?
Yep, I'll make a motion that we accept the use application agreement with the City of Frankfurt on Hot Dog Festival for, as presented by Kim Stevens.
I'll second.
Roll, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay, Kim, you're approved. Thank you for showing up this afternoon
Thank
and explaining all this to us.
Thank you.
Kimberly, did you have anything else?
I have a
Jason?
quick question for you, if I may. The rain out of the Prairie Creek Park event this weekend, is there success with it being able to be rescheduled by those entities, or do we know yet?
Yes, I've emailed them the open dates that the Parks Department has given me. So we'll, to be continued. Stay tuned.
Okay, well, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
It was the last minute for you to arrange all that, but thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Okay, Jason? did you have anything?
The 4th of July. we're
Okay,
going to do that.
thank you. Did you get my information on the public chairs for the July?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what he's gonna talk to us about.
Basically, just like we do every year, the annual Harvard Terrace 4th of July parade. Starts at 10 a.m. and they will be doing it near Harvard Terrace, which is east of Clay is where they'll begin. I can go through where they'll be writing if you'd like me to do that. If not, then I'll just move on. But I pass this on to our guys. I know Scott's got a copy of it too, police department. So you guys approve it.
I
Go ahead.
think you usually provide the barricades, and then Scott, you provide some of the officers down there, I believe, correct? Okay. Any questions? If not, I guess we're ready for an approval.
I'll make a motion, we approve the annual Harvard Terrace and area for the joint parade.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay.
Just two more quick things, Mayor. One, let the board works know that we ran a sweeper downtown off the square on Thursday night late. We waited till everybody got out of the way and everything downtown, and ran the street sweeper up there. We are going to do some spraying of some weed killer and do some weed eating around downtown, but that evening it was supposed to rain, and we don't want that weed killer getting out in our drain, so we held off on that. So we'll try to do that again this week on a good day, and try to help out what it looks like downtown. And then I spoke with Les today. I'm waiting on one more bid for the downtown line striping. I have to ask two people to give a bid. I don't believe we have anybody else that we would have interested in unless we need to advertising anything in that situation. So I'm waiting for one more bid, and when I get that, I'll bring that to you all. Those two bids to you all. We can get something started. I obviously know with product being pretty tough to get a hold of right now, we need to give them as much notice because we want to have that done prior to hot dog festival. So,
And you're also putting in that quote for in front of the police
yes,
department and the fire
that's
department,
involved in
right?
that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I did let them know that that Washington Street painting may need to wait until we finish. I want them to go ahead and put it in their bid,
Mhm.
and it may need to wait until we finish paving
Okay,
that street, obviously.
Okay.
We don't want to pave it after they've painted, so that's all I have.
okay, thank you, Jason. Chief Shoemaker, do you have anything for us?
That's mine.
All right. Chief Stidham, you have anything for us?
I don't believe so unless Les wants to talk about what I sent out to you guys earlier.
Oh, the resolution, yeah. We're getting ready for that with Les in just a minute. Okay, Les, do we want to go ahead and, which one do you want to talk about first? Golf carts or- We need to rescind.
Let's do the driving privileges. That's resolution 22-09, a resolution establishing policy regarding city employee driving privileges with respect to charges of driving under the influence of alcohol or non-prescription controlled substances. So we've circulated that, and I worked a lot with Matt on that. It was a big help. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. We also sent that down to the HR consultant, and I have not heard back from him. And I sent a copy to our HR department. And this would supersede and replace any previous policy. I might add that Alicia Albertson has reviewed this on behalf of the Utility Service Board, and my information is that the USB will also be adopting a similar resolution.
I don't know how we want to get this out to the employees, whether we just want to make sure a copy goes to the department heads and everyone make sure employees aware of this new change. It won't be a part of the handbook, but it will be a resolution that we pass, which puts this policy in place.
There was one typo that Matt found that we corrected, and I think I got that to Carol, didn't I, Carol? And that changed the word on to or on in that last paragraph.
Yeah, this should be the most recent comment.
Yeah, on the last page, paragraph number 2, the third line toward the end says, it said influence of alcohol on non-prescription drugs. It should be or non-prescription drugs, so we make that change.
The title of this resolution is a resolution establishing policy regarding city employee driving privileges with respect to charges of driving under the influence of alcohol or non-prescription controlled substance. Anybody have any questions or want to discuss this? I mean, if it's passed tonight, once it's passed, then it will go into effect for the city. So like I said, department heads might want to make sure, or Carol work with them to make sure employees are made aware of this.
We'll have Cheryl send this out to all the department heads and then they can disseminate in their groups.
Sometimes when I look at legalese, I don't find what I'm looking for, so I'm gonna pose this question. In discussion before, we amended this or during that, there was some discussion I thought about if there's a second infraction, then it might result in an employee's termination.
That is in here.
It is.
If it's within a 10-year period.
You're good. Thank you, Russ. I didn't find it specifically, so thank you. Just being sure.
I think it's under C.
See on the second.
If an employee's been convicted of driving or operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol or non-prescription controlled substance within 10 years prior to the current charges. In the last sentence, yeah. Thank you. And then it goes through there, and in the end it says that the employee's employment at the city of Frankfort will be terminated as a matter of cause. So if there are two charges within 10 years.
Trying it for speed reading. Doesn't work. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
I was able to get a copy of this.
If an employee was to cause injury or kill somebody the first time, I would push that they be removed as an employee of my department. So is that in there?
This only addresses alcohol and
If
controlled
they're
substance.
driving under the influence of alcohol or prescription drugs and cause injury or hurt or kill somebody, it appears that they would have another chance. Just the way that this is written, I would ask that.
No, that's just, that would still be under an alcohol or controlled substance without prescription scenario, I believe.
If somebody was to be drinking, driving, and hit a pedestrian in the sidewalk or the crosswalk, it doesn't, it says that they can't do it again within 10. It just says operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol or prescription drugs. I'm asking if they hurt somebody, are we able to, does this document, will this be used against the chief when they try to terminate somebody? That's the Board of Works has said that they can work as long as they don't get another one in 10 years. Will they be able to use this document as an employment contract if I would ask the board to fire somebody who was arrested for drinking and driving?
You mean on a first offense?
On first offense.
I would think the policy would be in place. Yeah. So you're saying there could be a situation where you want someone terminated from employment even on a first offense basis? An
Correct.
example would be if they hurt somebody badly or killed someone.
Correct.
I suppose that could be addressed.
From experience, that has happened in the county, and an employee remained an employee.
That's
And
why
so-
when we looked at this, and Matt and I worked on it, I said it's like it's an octopus with all these tentacles, so you've just raised a tentacle, I guess. This doesn't preclude that, I don't think, but it doesn't address it.
I just want to make sure that if there's a lawsuit against the chief or the city, if we do terminate somebody for a first offense,
that this doesn't get to be used as evidence, that we could terminate them.
Mhm.
I just.
On a first offense
On the
basis.
first offense, yeah.
I suppose that could always be raised.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I believe, we do, people who drive, public safety vehicles and whatnot, it's hard for me to keep somebody employed that has been arrested for that. And I understand the city's position on it, and I will support that. I'm concerned that depending on the level of the issue, that your first offense, you hit somebody, could be a felony that gets reduced to a misdemeanor, and we're right back here. So those are some of the things that I'm concerned about.
Well, I suppose we can go back and try to address all of the what ifs.
Yeah, because the behavior, I know that if I had an officer arrested, I would have received body camera footage, police reports, and ensured that the officer was at least on good behavior during that investigation. So if an officer was erratic or rude or did not, comply with that investigation, I would ask the board to terminate them. So I just want to make sure that we thought about all those possible situations.
In regards to that, would there be a difference, Wes? I mean, this is addressing restricted driving privileges, not about employment. Would that be, this is specific to that, would actually that fall under?
Well, yeah, Greg is right. That's what we tried to do, was address the privilege here. In fact, in the terminology, when we talk about removing the privilege, I called it revoking the privilege. When we talk about the Bureau of Motor Vehicles taking away the license and reinstating it, then it's reinstatement rather than getting the privilege back. I'd have to give that some more thought.
Does the last sentence take care of all disciplinary policies? Police and fire have different statutes on conduct unbecoming, those kinds of statutes that could allow a board of works public safety to terminate. I just want to make sure that those chief's charges, if they were ever to come from myself or Chief Stidham, that this document would not let a lawyer get somebody off, and we have to retain them.
Mhm.
I would agree. I think that final sentence of that piece.
Well, I mean, that's why I put that in there, but I'll admit I hadn't given thought to the scenario you presented when I did that. If someone's badly injured or someone's killed, either way, what the employee did is the same thing. He drank too much or he was on drugs. It's just the result is different. But yeah, Greg, I think that's correct. Now, I'm not saying some defense attorney couldn't look at this and say, if you're terminating someone who did kill somebody, that, hey, you can't do that because it's not in this policy. I'm not saying they wouldn't try to argue that. But it does say, however, nothing in this policy should be construed as revoking, limiting, replacing, or abrogating any other disciplinary policies of the city of Frankfort with regard to employees.
Yeah, if that would take care of any charges that the chief would bring to the board of works, then I would, they can always fight everything, but.
Or, we could add language or terminating an employee's employment for other reasons of cause, something like that. I don't know yet. Anytime you come up with these types of policies, you're going to get into this Pandora's box that you kind of raise in the scenario you mentioned. I researched a lot of Indiana cities to try to find a policy that addresses driving privileges of employees in these settings, and I couldn't find a single one. So.
Yeah, I don't know how, most cities that this happens,
the employee is no longer employed. I mean, that, one of the ones that I have found, they're no longer employed. So I know I just want to make sure when a police officer chooses this, that we, I know the public will be more apt to ask for their termination, but we need to follow, the policy for all city employees. So I just want to make sure though, if we do have an employee that injures somebody, not just a simple DUI, that I could ask that they be removed from the department.
That might fall under some other disciplinary.
Are we enacting this resolution this evening or waiting on response from Jeremy York and Alicia?
We have not heard,
We haven't heard
at
from
least
him.
I haven't heard anything.
I don't know whether he just thought we sent it to him, so he would have it. But we did not ask him to review it, even put in the handbook, so he never did reply back, so.
And then Alicia's review with utilities, well, they may have to adopt their own.
Yes, it would.
Again, I'm not the expert, chief, but I think, yes, this final sentence to me would address the initial concerns that you have and allow that leeway, or if you will, that's not a very good word, but allow the discretionary, piece to result in termination as needed.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So are you comfortable with passing this tonight, or?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 22-09.
Second, roll call please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
And if down the road, as we proceed on this, if the board members feel that they want to amend it in any fashion, we always can do that as well. But we wanted to have something in place, as I understand it. So
Yes,
this was the best we could come up with.
Appreciate it, Les. Thank you, thank you. Okay, Les, we have next, resolution 22-08, which is concerning the golf carts. And as you and I talked, you mentioned rescinding, resolution 22-05, which we passed, I believe, at the last meeting.
It was actually 2 meetings.
2 meetings ago, okay.
Yeah, that resolution needs to be rescinded because there was not a meeting of the minds. It was only proposed on the basis of financing the purchase and where to do that. So
Mayor, would you like for us to attend to that first?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to rescind resolution 22-05.
I second.
Roll call please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. Okay, so we've rescinded resolution 22-05, and Les has prepared a new resolution 22-08. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to do this?
it's a resolution for special purchase again under the special purchase statute. And it is for the purchase of 50 new 2023 Club Car Tempo gas powered golf carts together with one carry-all 300 gas utility vehicle. And total purchase price is $242,950, which includes delivery, no sales tax, but some fuel charges on there that I guess everybody's adding to every purchase now. It also includes the trade-in of 40 old battery-powered golf carts. And I think by the time delivery would occur, these would not really be used until next golf season.
And then we're willing to hold this quote for us. We did hear back from the other company, and they have increased their quote again, so it's not really even close to this. So it was like over 300,000, I think, at this point. So
They didn't want our business very badly, so they can change in there.
yes, yes. So yeah, that's for the 50 carts and one new gas utility vehicle. I think that maybe Jesse was that are satisfied with this anyway, because we have choice of colors and some other things he could choose on those cards. So, we're definitely yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 22-08, authorizing special purchase of golf carts and utility vehicle.
I'll second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. Okay, so Carol, we're gonna try this again. Okay, who said this just, yes. And this is with Midwest Golf and Turf. Okay, Les, I had one other thing, and I didn't see it on the agenda. The one there. Did you bring that with you?
I have it right here if you need it.
Oh, there it is, right there under unfinished, sorry, Carol. I think we have it. Is anyone here that is, has the One America retirement accounts for the city? We've invited them to the meeting tonight in case they had any comments. Do we have anyone here? So we've received this letter with 3 options from One America Retirement. And I think currently we have, is it 5 employees, Carol?
We have 4 employees who contribute to the program and then 1 employee who had a financial loan through the program. So there's 5 affected, yes.
Okay.
So this is a program where contributions could be made to these accounts. And it's one of these deferred taxation type of investments in contribution. And there are 3 options. The first one is to stop all. What's happening is the interest rates have gone up since the AUL people came up with this fixed income account several years ago, and they no longer feel that they can honor the interest rate, which I think was 3%, is what the fellow told me on the phone. Although interest rates have gone up since then, since they sent this out. But in any event, they're doing away with that account. We have 3 options for employees who are participants. The first one, and the city has to elect one of these options on behalf of all employees, so each employee doesn't get to pick their own option. First one is to stop all contributions and investment transfers to the AUL fixed interest account and redirect future investment elections to another investment option available under the group annuity contract. And in 2022, it'd be 1.5% going forward, and after that, based on the market rate. But all contributions already made would continue at that fixed rate of 3%. Option 2 is to liquidate the AUL fixed interest account and transfer participants' account balances invested in the AUL fixed interest account to the AUL stable account, which goes up and down. But if that option is elected in 2022, it'd be 2.5%. 2023, it goes down to 2.25%. 2024, 2%. And after that, the market value. The third option is to terminate the group annuity contract, so there wouldn't be any further relationship with AUL. So the gentleman that was quite helpful on the phone told me that of all the employers who are having to go through this, 85% of them are electing option number 1, which when you look at it, seemed reasonable if the existing accounts stay at their current rate. But one of those 3 needs to be elected because AUL needs our response by May 31st.
I know Cheryl Martin, our HR coordinator, has reached out to the participants that we currently have, and it's very nicely explained, and they all have knowledge ahead of the game. So knowing that tonight's meeting was going to be when the decision was made, I'll make the motion that we select option 1 as the alternative selection.
Second.
Roll call, please, Carol.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. Okay, that's taken care of. Anybody have anything else tonight? Anybody in the audience have anything? Okay, Russ?
No.
Okay, you take the motion. So you, okay. Okay, thank you everyone for coming.